I secretly married my boss. Cathy. Alexander Johnson asked you to deliver a document. Why is your lipstick smudged? Snacking again? Don't want this job? Quit then. My team leader berated me. As I stammered for an explanation, Alex suddenly appeared at the doorway, glancing at him indifferently. I was the one eating. Got a problem with that? I've had my eye on Alex for years. I followed him to his high school and college, chased him across half of the United States, wore out 3 pairs of shoes but never caught up. Eventually I gave up and returned home to become a couch potato. Then he parachuted in as our company's CEO. I secretly thought my chance had finally come until I learned he already had a 4-year-old kid. The new CEO is so hot. With a boss like that, I'd work overtime every day. Too bad he's divorced with a kid. Alex's arrival set off a frenzy among the office girls. Hearing them gush daily made my chest tighten. During all those years I chased him, he'd married, divorced, and become a father, living his best life. Meanwhile, I'd just been foolishly nursing a crush. This time, I finally gave up. During a weekend blind date arranged by my grandparents, I nearly choked seeing him across the table. This universe must be glitching. He took one look at me and proposed marriage. Had he lost his mind? Why me? I pressed a hand over my racing heart. Am I better than those influencers waiting for him downstairs every day? You look approachable. His reply came crisp and clinical. Wow. Thanks. I told him compliments should be down to earth, not channeling the underworld. $200,000. He paused with infuriating confidence. I'll pay you $200,000 annually for a contractual marriage. Complete freedom, no interference. You think $200,000 can? Ding. Alipay payment received, $200,000. This was blatant disrespect. Theoretically, I should return the money and slap him. Realistically, I'm 27. Life taught me not to bite the hand that feeds. Given the choice between him and his money, I'll take the cash. I have self-awareness. Plus, I desperately needed those funds. Gritting my teeth, I muttered, deal. We had a whirlwind marriage. The license took under an hour. He handed me a contract. My only duty was picking up his kid from school daily and playing perfect stepmom. One condition stood out: no disclosing our relationship. Especially at work. Got it. He's paying for a nanny who doubles as eye candy. $200,000 annually for babysitting? The salary's mediocre. But getting to admire his handsome face up close? I'll grudgingly accept. On the day of our wedding, Alex flew out of town for a business trip. I have 2 villas in East Suburbs and West Mountain. Pick one, he said indifferently from the back seat before leaving. Why, you're giving it to me? I stammered, nervously calculating potential property taxes. He glanced sideways. For you to live in. Oh. My cheeks burned. So not a gift then. West Mountain. I like watching sunsets through floor-to-ceiling windows, I declared with forced dignity. He gave me an unreadable look. West Suburbs works too. I backtracked softly. The driver interjected. West Mountain's just the neighborhood name. Ma'am. Both properties have sunset views. Darn it. I shut my mouth. Face flaming. West Mountain. Closer to the office. He tossed me a keychain. When will you be back? The words escaped before I remembered our contract clearly stating no obligations. A week. When I stayed silent, he added, Don't wait up. Right. Of course. His raised eyebrow screamed, You understand nothing. Focus on your own affairs. Don't waste energy on me. Anger flickered in my chest. As if this divorced guy was some prize. My palms sweated during first preschool pickup. Ethan, your mom's here. The teacher announced, scrutinizing me. A boy with Ultraman backpack stared up impassively. She's not my mom. The air froze. I reached for his hand only to be shrugged off. He's adjusting. I forced a smile. The teacher chuckled. But he's your carbon copy. Carbon copy? My throat tightened. Alex lied. Ethan does have a mom. A pig-tailed girl accused, pointing at chubby-cheeked boy. Blushing. The boy mumbled. My mom says she's the stepmom. Ethan's shoulders hunched. Storming ahead to the car. Want the AC cooler? I tried during the ride. I hate you, he stated matter-of-factly. At the supermarket, Ethan filled 3 carts with toys and snacks. He always does this. The driver shrugged. Not my kid. Not my problem. That night, I called Alex. Why's Ethan upset? He surprised me by asking. Maybe his teacher said he looks like me? He thinks I'm ugly? Every time I checked the rearview mirror, Ethan would be staring, or rather glaring, at me through it. Not bad looking, Alex finally said after a long silence on the phone. Just ignore him. Not bad looking? My heart fluttered unexpectedly. My first chauffeur assignment had been disastrous. Naturally, all subsequent attempts ended similarly. But I maintained composure, no matter what Ethan said. I kept smiling through my driving duties. Why get worked up over a kid? That weekend, my colleague Emmy invited me mall shopping. I figured it'd be perfect for buying my mom some loose t-shirts for hospital visits. In the underground garage, a black Bentley parked near the elevator caught my eye, identical to Alex's. The next second confirmed it was him. Through the half-open window, I glimpsed a girl inside. An indescribable feeling tightened my chest. Emmy nudged me, whispering, "That's the boss." We shamelessly eavesdropped. "What else do you want?" Alex's voice carried that trademark frosty detachment. His ink-dark brows furrowed. "No bags or necklaces. I want you." The girl draped herself around his neck like human jewelry. Just as Emmy and I exchanged shocked looks at her boldness, Alex peeled her arms away. "Then I'm afraid not." "Why? Don't you like me?" Her voice turned shrill. "I don't like disobedience." He pushed her off with clinical detachment, tilting his head toward the door. "I'll behave." She lunged for a kiss. Alex suddenly looked up, straight into my gawking eyes. Trapped mid-stare, I froze. He held my gaze for endless seconds. Unreadable. "Delete my contact," he told the girl, voice dropping dangerously. "Don't embarrass yourself." Sobbing, she fled with her designer handbag. Emmy frantically mashed elevator buttons. As the doors closed, I saw Alex still watching me. Was that regret in his eyes? Or disdain? I bet on the latter. "Cat!" Emmy vibrated with excitement in the elevator. Wasn't that the TikTok influencer with 10 million followers? I used to adore her. Pretty enough. I conceded. Alex did have taste. But she was groveling to the boss. My idol, ruined. I shrugged. Money makes reality flexible. You think she'll become our future Mrs. Johnson? Prancing around headquarters daily? Maybe. I mumbled, mentally reciting our prenup clauses. Emmy sighed as we entered Zara. All these influencers marry tycoons. Who knew even someone like Mr. Johnson, rich, handsome, magnetic, would fall for that? Still a good deal, stepmom benefits included. She side-eyed me. Meanwhile, you're still single. I'll have my mom find you a nice accountant or teacher. Realistic matches for regular people like us. My phone rang as she spoke. The caller ID flashed lottery win, Alex's contact. "Who is it?" Emmy asked, smiling at my phone screen. "My cousin," I mouthed before stepping away to answer. "What time will you finish?" His voice resonated with that familiar deep timbre, unexpectedly making my pulse quicken. 5. The The click of a lighter sounded through the receiver before he paused. "Can you take a cab home? I need to give someone a ride." His question carried the weight of a statement. "Sure. Go ahead." I surprised myself by adding that last part instead of my usual compliant okay. The words dripping with unintended jealousy that even startled me. Another pause. "There's a gathering at oceanfront tonight," he offered. What passed for explanation from Alex? "I get it." My throat tightened imagining which influencer he'd take, the blonde from last week's charity gala or the TikTok dancer. The bitter taste lingered until reality check. Our marriage of convenience didn't grant me jealousy privileges. The line went dead. Ding. Alipay notification, $20,000 received. I stared at the digits. So this was his version of affection, financial rewards for playing the docile paper wife who turns blind eyes to his escapades? If compliance earned such generosity, I'd perfect the role of obedient doll 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. Days later, I stood in the derelict tenement's doorway. Crushed beer cans crunching underfoot. Drinking again? The words caught like cotton in my throat as I surveyed the human hurricane before me. "Since when do you mother me?" My birth-giver hurled a bottle that glanced off my temple. Biting back pain. I gathered shards and hauled her upright. Done with the theatrics? Time for the hospital. Every May brought this ritual. The anniversary of Gia's disappearance always drowned her in liquor. "Can't afford it," she slurred, splashing sink water on her face. I practically stuffed her into the Uber, ignoring the driver's wrinkled nose. At registration, she tried shredding the billing sheet. "I've got it." My phone screen displayed the balance from last week's allowance. "You hoard yourself?" Her shrill accusation turned neighboring patients' heads. "Earned. Legally." The lie tasted metallic. Her skeptical glare followed me through admissions paperwork. "Scam artists," she muttered when nurses left. "I'm too tough for cancer to kill. Let's revisit that after surgery." I signed the consent forms alone. By 8 p.m., prepped for the operation, her defiance finally crumbled. "You're 27. She said as gurney wheels squeaked toward our doors. "Find some rich fool to bother instead." The stainless steel doors swallowed her last dig. I leaned against cold tiles. The Alipay notification burning in my palm like damnation. She had never spoken to me in such a grave tone before. Sounding like a final farewell. Not a chance. I was irritated. "You." My mother fumed. "Keep that energy if you're planning to jump off the operating table later to argue with me." I snapped. Sitting on the bench outside the operating room, my mind churned. Alex was the blind date candidate my grandmother had introduced, claiming he was the grandson of my grandfather's war comrade. She didn't know his family owned conglomerate-level wealth, and their agreement to this match was likely mere formality. As for the whirlwind marriage, I had no intention of telling my mother. I knew exactly what scheme she'd hatch. Remembering her last words before surgery, "You have an older sister, Lily, 2 years your senior in America's XXX. If I don't make it, go see her for me. Her photo and address are in my WeChat favorites." This was my first glimpse of my sister's picture. She looked stunning, wearing Gucci and carrying a Chanel bag. I muttered. My sperm donor must have been loaded. Grandma once whispered that after my parents' divorce, my sister stayed with our father while I remained with Mom. My mother's paranoia ran deep, terrified I'd abandon her after 20 years of investment. She drilled into me since childhood that I'd been immaculately conceived. "Why don't I have a dad like everyone else?" "Your father's dead. Cathy. Walk out that door right now if you're rejecting me too." Every time I saw her trembling with rage, I relented. Dead's dead, why feud with a ghost? I'd soothe her. The cardiac stent procedure dragged longer than anticipated. Pacing the sterile corridor felt like purgatory. After an hour, doctors summoned me, 2 arteries 90% blocked. Catheter inserted. Needing immediate decision between treatment options. Both approaches have merits, but the cost difference is significant. Are you the only family member present? Yeah. Medical jargon blurred as I stared at her motionless form. Give her the most expensive materials. I signed the consent without hesitation, hand sweating so profusely the pen slipped. Emerging from that room, I floated in surreal detachment, my first life or death decision. I'd prided myself on fierce independence. Yet confronting surgical paperwork revealed how loneliness could devour resolve, leaving only suffocating helplessness. What if she actually dies? The thought petrified me. She was objectively terrible, chain smoking, boozing, gambling, prone to slapping matches and screaming matches. Get out! She'd shriek. Out where? Yet this same woman once carried my feverish child self through midnight streets in flip-flops, badgering closed clinics until someone treated me. This nicotine-stained fury once faced down school bullies' fathers with lit cigarette in hand. Thanks to her, even fatherless, I never endured playground torment. She lived like trash yet raised me decent. So I stayed, our twisted pact to outlast each other. Sitting numb. Moisture startled me, touching my face revealed silent tears. I bolted for the restroom. Rounding the corner, 2 figures passed by. Dumped another influencer already? Blocked her too? Cold. Man. A lab-coated doctor chuckled. TCH. The suited man scoffed. The pool's running, which socialites next for Alex's rotation? Done playing. Alex stated flatly. A familiar voice suddenly pierced my ears, making me shudder. Alex? I froze in place. Why was he here? Eavesdropping was incredibly rude. But they were walking too fast for me to avoid them, leaving me trapped between a rock and a hard place. Giving up already? The doctor sounded surprised. What's this? Is young Master Alex turning over a new leaf? Alex didn't respond, merely smiling before muttering. The old man set me up with someone. A blind date? The doctor perked up. Alex going on a blind date? Before getting an answer, Alex suddenly stopped right in front of me. I stood there looking up, accidentally meeting his gaze. My limbs turned to lead. The doctor noticed our awkward eye contact and paused. Friend of yours? Boss. I blurted out first. Your employee. Alex didn't confirm, his eyes flickering between me and the operating room at the end of the corridor. Why are you here? Accompanying someone. I instinctively avoided mentioning it was my mother. He glanced at the interventional radiology sign behind me, brow furrowing slightly. Alone? Yeah. I suddenly remembered needing the restroom. I should. Go ahead. I fled toward the bathroom. Behind me, their conversation resumed as if this interruption meant nothing. Help me at the reunion tonight. Can't get wasted with morning rounds. Their voices faded. Returning from the restroom, the empty corridor let me hurry back to the OR. Their earlier words lingered bitterly. Even his classmates knew his reputation. Was our marriage just paperwork? What more was I expecting? Mom emerged soon after. The successful surgery lifted my spirits. That evening, feeding her congee, she barely scolded me through the pain. After she slept, I arranged for a nurse. Work obligations trumped hospital vigils. Swiping my credit card at discharge, I grimaced. Only his money made this effortless. The bitter smile froze as my phone buzzed in the elevator. Left yet? Alex texted. Exiting now. I replied. B2. The parking level? His black Bentley waited by the elevator. The tinted window lowered, revealing his expectant nod toward the passenger seat. I automatically reached for the back door. Front. His command brooked no argument. Right. My palms dampened against the leather seats. Though we commuted daily, I always rode behind, disembarking a block early. Sitting beside him like this? Unprecedented. He turned to see that I had fastened my seatbelt before starting the car toward the villa. Weren't you supposed to attend the alumni reunion? I had assumed he'd be at a dinner event by now. Enjoy eavesdropping that much? He countered. I didn't mean to overhear. I hurried to explain. He said nothing, merely glancing at me. His long fingers tapped rhythmically against the steering wheel. Expression unreadable. Reunions are tedious. He offered as brief explanation. Oh. I struggled for conversation topics. Your friend's surgery went well? Need me to contact the hospital board? I know their directors. No. I blurted. I couldn't let him discover it was my mother, nor let my mother learn about this farce. He studied me briefly before refocusing on the road. At the office, we rarely spoke. At home, he was often absent, or returned after I'd gone to bed. Me in the guest room, our paths scarcely crossing. Cathy. He suddenly broke the silence. You studied here before? Yes. Nanyang High. My pulse quickened. He'd attended the same school. Interesting. His eyebrow arched. We're alumni then. Seems so. I swallowed the bitter aftertaste. He'd never know I'd worked relentlessly to enter that school for him, only to arrive as he departed for college. Could we have met before? My breath caught. Had he remembered? When I didn't answer, he chuckled. Probably not. I only spent senior year there. The truth settled like stone. He'd forgotten. He'd been there a year. Seen me once. I'd watched him countless times, girls flocking at the gates begging for his number. Admirers offering drinks on the field. Too timid to approach. I'd memorized his laugh from afar. Guess not. I managed. The car hummed with unspoken words until I finally dared ask. Alex, can I ask something? Did you really choose me because I seemed down to earth? He froze, then burst into laughter. You believed that? The familiar ache resurged, that dangerous, lingering crush flaring anew. Next morning, desperate for clarity, I found he'd already left on business. Dark circles framed my eyes as I tackled the mountain of documents my supervisor dumped on me. By lunchtime, I hadn't eaten. After work, rushing to pick up Ethan, I wolfed down a street vendor's sandwich. 10 minutes late, I appeased him with toys from a nearby store. Ethan Johnson stood stiffly at the school gate. After getting him into the car, I handed him a toy to calm him down. Then Alex called. Did you pick him up? Yeah. I'll be back in 2 days. He hesitated before adding, Want any designer bags? Bags? The question caught me off guard. As I opened my mouth to decline, a toy suddenly smacked into my face, the sharp pain forcing my eyes shut. I pressed my palm against my throbbing eyelid, inhaling sharply through clenched teeth. After several steadying breaths, I managed to reply calmly. Let's discuss this later. Ethan's upset. I hung up before he could respond. What was that for? I demanded, anger rising as my eye continued watering. Mommy would come back if you weren't here. The boy glared at me with round, furious eyes. His cheeks flushed crimson. It took me a moment to realize he'd gotten jealous of his father calling me. Normally I tolerated his antics, being a stepmother was tough, and I chose peace over principles. But today felt different. Ethan, these are adult matters, I said softly, crouching to his eye level. You're too young to understand. Truthfully, I knew nothing about his biological mother's whereabouts. The fact that Alex had married me suggested no reconciliation plans. I know everything. He stomped his foot. You're the bad lady who stole Daddy. Stole? When did I? Your mom wouldn't return even without me, I stated bluntly. His lips trembled before tears spilled over, instantly regretting my harshness. I moved to hug him, but he shoved me away. Fumbling through his backpack, he thrust a photograph in my face. See? This is Mommy. She's coming back. My blood turned to ice as I recognized the woman in the picture, my sister Lily. A cold sweat broke across my back as I croaked. This is your mother? Mommy's prettier than you. He clutched the photo like a sacred relic. All arguments died in my throat. How could Lily's child end up with Alex? When had she become his ex-wife? The kindergarten teacher's comments about Ethan resembling me suddenly made terrible sense. He bore my sister's features that we both inherited. Returning home, I remained shell-shocked even after the housekeeper took Ethan for his bath. Memories flooded me, Grandma mentioning Lily went to America with our estranged father. Mom's dying wish to see her firstborn. Alex's abrupt marriage proposal during our initial meeting. Now I wondered every time he'd spoken gently. Was it really me he saw? Or the ghost of the woman in that photograph? I also wonder if my mom, every time she gets drunk and tearfully says she misses me, is actually thinking of my sister. Then what about me? What's the meaning of my existence? Am I just an accident or someone's temporary replacement? This world's too damn surreal. When Alex texted me that night, a flood of questions surged through me. Ethan asleep? Yeah. Any issues earlier? He threw a tantrum for a bit. Right. Our nightly exchanges never went beyond updates about his child. I was just his paid robot, mechanically reporting every detail. I thought this was the end of it. Send me photos of bags you like from the Luxury Handbag Expo tomorrow. I paused for a second before laughing bitterly. See? This transactional relationship. When I behave, he transfers money, generous sums. Admittedly. Perform well. Get rewarded with designer bags. Just another disposable woman in his harem. Probably the cheapest option. Don't need any. Going to bed. For the first time, I coldly dismissed him. After years of chasing him, licking his boots, ending up with nothing but raising his child with my sister, haven't I suffered enough? Still expected to suck up to someone who treats me like dirt? Screw this. I'm done. I wiped my tears, showered while sobbing, then crashed into dreamless sleep. Next morning, same routine, work, pick up Ethan. Lived like a walking corpse for days until discharging Mom from hospital. The moment we stepped out, her phone rang, mahjong buddies summoning her. Why that face? Doctor never said I can't play. I stayed silent. First no smoking, no drinking, now no mahjong? Just kill me already. Watching her fiery scolding, I secretly thought, thank God she's back to normal. Transferring 10,000 yuan. I said calmly, if you'd taken sister instead, would your life still be this mess? She froze, gaping at me before shrieking, you ungrateful thing. Want to run off to your rich dad too? Go then. Hate your useless mom? Don't come back. Her hysterical act almost made me laugh. Still thinks I care about money. Foolish woman, she panics at any hint of me leaving. Wordlessly, I handed her meds and took her back to the shantytown. Didn't want to fetch Ethan. Didn't want to return. But trapped by the prenup penalty I can't afford. After days of numbness, clarity struck. Got voluminous chestnut curls, nothing like sister's sleek hair in photos. Finally satisfied. At the team meeting, there he was again. Wise Mr. Johnson attending all our department meetings lately? Never see him with other teams. My supervisor muttered. Sweating. Probably eyeing the new intern girl. Stop talking nonsense. The intern stammered, her face flushing crimson as she vehemently denied. Then who else could it be? Who's still single here? What about Cathy? She's still available. A colleague teased. I'd been quietly observing the drama, never expecting it to suddenly shift focus onto me. Cathy? My team leader glanced at me and shook her head. Impossible. Mr. Johnson doesn't go for her type. Thanks for that. And I don't care for his type either. I snapped irritably. The conference room fell silent the moment my words left my mouth. A tall figure walked past me with deliberate calmness, taking his seat at the head of the table. Alex. Annoyance prickled through me that he'd overheard, yet perversely satisfying. Let him do whatever he wanted, I was done playing this game. My beautiful colleague delivered today's presentation to Alex. Though she spoke with passionate energy, his gaze kept drifting toward me. What's he staring at? I lowered my head, refusing to engage. When the presentation concluded, the room waited in tense silence for his feedback. Instead, he asked abruptly, "What happened to your face?" Only when everyone turned toward me did I remember the bandage on my cheek. Cut myself while trimming my eyebrows. I muttered. The atmosphere thickened with awkwardness. Colleagues exchanging shocked looks while the presenter stood frozen in humiliation. Alex calmly averted his eyes. No further comments. My team leader exhaled in visible relief. Post-meeting interrogations about my history with Alex were met with feigned ignorance. Truthfully, I couldn't comprehend why he'd publicly singled me out either. You're taking this document to Mr. Johnson for signature, my supervisor ordered later. I can't handle daily meetings with him anymore, my heart can't take the stress. I'm clocking out. I refused. Choose, clock out or get fired. Damn. Clutching the file, I marched to his office. He reviewed documents as usual, the signing process uneventful until he suddenly remarked, "Hair color's interesting." Surprised, I countered, "You like it?" My boldness clearly caught him off guard. After several beats, he managed, "It's tolerable." Good. I'll change it soon then. His stunned expression fueled my satisfaction as I exited. That evening, while helping Ethan with his art project, the boy sat contentedly watching cartoons. Our relationship had settled into detached coexistence since I stopped fighting him. I collected him from school without conversation, carried his toy purchases charged to his father's account, let him watch screens while I completed his assignments, a ceasefire of mutual indifference. Finally, we found our balance. In the middle of it, Alex came back. He changed his shoes, went upstairs to put on loungewear, then joined us. Seeing him approach, I immediately left. You help him. I'm going to shower. He stared at me silently. When I emerged from the shower, he was leaning against the doorframe watching me intently. My heart skipped a beat as I moved to close the door. I'm going to bed. My workday's over. I dismissed him outright. The heat of his gaze burned my shoulders, suddenly making me aware I was still wrapped in a towel. Without a word, he pulled out a cigarette, clamped it between his teeth, and lit it sideways. Gone was his usual professional demeanor. He looked like some delinquent now. Out with it. He showed no intention of leaving, those piercing eyes dissecting me as he drawled, "What's this tantrum about?" No tantrum. Ethan bothering you? No. Your team lead overworking you? No. Then why? Money trouble? He tilted his head to light another cigarette, impatience bleeding through. Money? Since when have I not needed money? I'd finally decided to stop loving him. Yet he thought this was some childish act. Even if it were, he clearly considered it none of his concern. The ache in my chest proved unavoidable. He sighed, softening his tone. I've been busy lately. If you need something, just ask. I don't want anything anymore. My lips twisted bitterly. It's only a year anyway. Let's divorce when the time comes. Always stirring up drama. His patience snapped. Fine. He spat out the word before retreating to his room. I shut my door and collapsed on the bed, the dull ache persisting. See? He doesn't care. My little rebellions are just clown shows to him. Barely worth noticing. Life continued. One can't survive on love alone. That afternoon, I went to pick up Ethan from kindergarten. The teacher immediately informed me he'd hit someone. I froze. "Look what your kid did." "2 lumps on my son's head," screeched a woman with blood-red nails and stiletto heels. Ethan stood clenching his fists, pale and silent beside Wang Xing, the chubby classmate who'd called me his stepmother last time. "What happened?" I knelt beside Ethan. He stayed mute. "Mommy, it hurts," Wang Xing wailed dramatically. "Serves you right." Ethan glared, trembling with suppressed rage. My headache intensified. "What terrible manners. Is this how your family raises children?" Wang Xing's mother raised her hand to strike. I instinctively checked on Ethan, his face flushed crimson at the insult, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Watch your words." I shielded him behind me. "You dare act self-righteous when your brat attacked first?" The woman looked ready to brawl. "Please discuss this calmly without the children present." The teacher intervened, swallowing my anger. I said tightly, "I'll question my son first." "Teacher, please retrieve the surveillance footage." I pulled Ethan into a corner, squatting down to look at him. His small frame stood rigidly straight without uttering a word. Sighing, I took his hand. "All right. Don't be scared. If you didn't hit anyone, no matter how much his mom fusses, she can't touch a hair on your head. But if you did, I'll take responsibility. We'll talk when you're ready." Getting no answers from him, I gave up. If he really hit someone, I'd swallow my pride and apologize. Just as I stood, his whisper froze me. "I don't have a mom anymore." My body stiffened as I stared at him. "I don't have a mom anymore," he repeated, fat tears rolling down his cheeks. The words hit me like a truck, stealing my breath. After a beat, I squeezed his hand. "That's not true. Your mom's just busy right now. She's dead." He wiped furiously at his face, but the tears kept coming. "Dead?" My chest constricted. Childhood memories flooding back, my own mother slapping me whenever I asked about Dad. Her snarling "he's dead" until I stopped asking altogether. Crying silently under blankets. My nose burned as I pulled his trembling body close. "Who told you that?" My voice cracked. "Wang Xing." The name unleashed torrential sobs against my shoulder. I held him. This stubborn little boy who was still just a child. "He's lying," I soothed, then paused. "Did he say that often? Is that why you hit him?" His choked cries answered me. Rage ignited in my chest. Scooping him up, I marched to the chubby kid. "You said his mom's dead?" I glared. The boy wailed, burying himself in his mother's skirt. "What are you doing to my son?" The woman shoved me hard. I staggered, barely keeping balance with Ethan in my arms. "Congratulations on raising a kid who tells orphans their mothers are dead." "What am I, then? A ghost?" She flushed crimson. "How dare." "Save it. We'll see you in court before getting any apology from us." Her manicured hand flew at my face. I shoved Ethan toward a teacher and caught her wrist mid-swing. She screeched, clawing at my hair with her other hand. We became a whirlwind of slaps and scratches until teachers dragged us apart. 30 minutes later in the office, Alex sat across from me with unreadable dark eyes as the teacher recounted events. I lifted my chin defiantly. "No apologies. Ever." After hearing everything, Alex spoke calmly. "Our lawyers will handle the surveillance footage and evidence. We'll double any required compensation. But if anyone bullies Ethan or my people here," his gaze hardened, "we'll litigate until they regret it." The security tapes proved Ethan never touched Wang Xing. The boy had tripped trying to push him. The red-nailed mother suddenly became all smiles. "Kids roughhouse sometimes. No need for lawsuits. Right, teacher?" Under staff mediation, Wang Xing and his mother finally apologized. After returning home, I sulked back to my room. A knock suddenly sounded at the door. When I opened it and saw Alexander Johnson, I immediately tried to block the doorway. This was beyond embarrassing. My hair looked like a bird's nest. My shirt hung crookedly, and red nail scratches covered my neck and face. "Open the door." His deep voice rumbled through the wood. "Not convenient. I'm going to bed." I didn't want him seeing me like this, though he'd already witnessed my afternoon humiliation. He must be utterly disappointed in me. Brave enough to fight but scared to open a door? He sighed, softening his tone. "Let me check your injuries." Reluctantly, I opened the door and shuffled toward the bed without meeting his eyes. Alex dragged over a chair, setting down a first aid kit with clinical precision. His gaze burned into me. "Look up." I stayed stubbornly still. Cool fingers lifted my chin, forcing me to meet those piercing eyes that made my pulse skitter. "Picking fights you can't win?" I held my own. I retorted. That red-nailed harpy only won because of her acrylic weapons. The corner of his mouth twitched. Was he laughing at me? I dug fingernails into my palms until he began cleaning my wounds with surprising gentleness. His warm breath grazed my skin as he worked, making me lean away instinctively. "Hurts?" "No." "Then stop squirming." Strong hands pulled me closer until I could count his eyelashes. I held my breath, hypnotized by his touch. "Other injuries?" he asked after treating my visible wounds. "Here." I yanked my collar aside. Alex froze. When his gaze darkened, I suddenly realized how much skin I'd exposed. My cheeks burned as I adjusted my camisole. "I'll handle it." "Turn around." His command brooked no argument. "Not appropriate. We're legally married." Cool antiseptic touched my bare back. No need for modesty. I wasn't being modest. But how could I explain this? His fingers stilled abruptly. My stomach dropped as I remembered the tattoo spanning my shoulder blades. "What's this design?" "Just flowers." My heart hammered against my ribs. "Locust blossoms?" My breath caught. How did he recognize the signature flower from his family crest? Why get this tattoo? I liked it when I was younger. When I was young and stupidly in love with him. It's quite pretty. Moments later, a cool sensation traced the outline of the flower petals, sending shivers down my spine. Alex withdrew his hand without speaking, silently finished applying the ointment, and helped me adjust my clothes. Lost in thought, he suddenly pinched my finger. "Rather slender," he remarked, measuring my ring finger against his own. I jerked my hand back, flustered. "Aw. It's normal. I'm tired, I need to sleep." I feared he might make another unexpected move. "Fighting. Tattoos." He chuckled at my nervousness. "I underestimated you." Had he realized I wasn't the obedient girl he'd imagined? Regretting it? "I'll return tomorrow night." Return? What did that mean? He didn't elaborate. Simply left with the first aid kit. The next day at work, my mind wandered. His words and actions from last night chipped away at my resolve. This was the agony of unrequited love, swearing to move on, vowing to stop loving him, only to spiral into hope at the slightest kindness or ambiguous phrase. My locust tree tattoo reminded me of that boy from childhood. In elementary school, I'd gone to the mahjong parlor to fetch my mother after class. She refused to leave, so I took her keys and walked home alone. One of her gambling buddies followed me into an alley. When the man lunged, I bit his arm and fled. At the alley's mouth, a group of students passed by. I screamed. Only one stopped, Alex. I threw myself into his arms, and he didn't push me away. "Big brother, there's a bad man," I sobbed. He shielded me. Voice steady, "Don't be afraid. I'm here. The attacker fled. He escorted me to our shantytown home. Alone? Where are your parents? He frowned at the empty room. Mom's still playing mahjong. My whole body shook with residual terror. Without comment, he patted my shoulder. I'll wait outside until she returns. He pointed to the locust tree by our door. 4 hours. He stood beneath that tree, phone in hand. Whenever nightmares startled me awake, I'd peer through the window. There he remained, moonlight stretching his shadow into a long, comforting beacon through my bleak existence. Mom stumbled home at dawn. By morning, the tree stood empty. I found his student ID, Alex. South Ocean High. From that day, my obsession crystallized. I studied relentlessly, escaping the slums troublemakers to attend his high school, only to discover he'd graduated to Hainan University. I clawed my way into Hainan U, but he'd already left for graduate studies in America. He'd never know me. I hid his ID in my diary. Now he's with Yen Brown. They have a child. He'll never glimpse the girl who loved him from shadows. This shameful crash suffocating me. The ache tightened my chest until breathing hurt. Thinking about Ethan mentioning his mom's death yesterday made me uneasy. If that were true, how heartbroken my own mother would be. After agonizing all day, I finally decided to confront him after work. To my surprise, he was home, a rare occurrence. I knocked on his study door. He opened it, leaning against the frame. "What's wrong?" he asked. Brows furrowed. "Did you marry me because I look like someone else?" I blurted, fists clenched. He froze momentarily, feigning confusion. "What's this about? Wait in your room, I'll come find you later." His evasion fueled my resolve. If I'm just a glorified babysitter or some replacement, forget it. I won't play robot nanny while you romance other women. Find someone else. Replacement? Babysitter? A gravelly voice cut through the tension. An elderly man with silver hair emerged behind Alex. Cane thumping. Alex massaged his temples. "My grandfather." "Grandfather?" My stomach dropped. "Greet him," Alex mouthed. "Grandfather." I squeaked. "Married and didn't tell your own family? What nonsense." The old man glared at Alex. "Been busy." Alex shrugged. "Too rich to show your wife to this old man?" The cane twitched, but he glanced at me and stayed his hand. "You found us anyway," Alex said, steadying him. "Don't work yourself up." I stood rooted, pulse racing. "And your name, dear?" The grandfather turned to me, smile sudden as sunrise. "Catherine Smith." "Catherine? Old Brown's granddaughter?" He rounded on Alex. "You said it didn't work out." To me. "Softer, tell me how this rascal's wronged you." I glanced at Alex, who shrugged helplessly. "Leave her be," Alex interjected, hurting him back. "Ask me instead." As I debated fleeing, Alex reappeared. "Wait in the guest room. 10 minutes. "Okay. Making your wife sleep alone?" Grandfather's roar chased me down the hall. Later, Alex leaned against my doorway, half amused. "So, this replacement drama. New creative angle? Isn't it true?" I muttered. "Our contract marriage, how many times have we talked this month? Every conversation's about your kid with other women. My job's to babysit while you play house elsewhere. Admit it." He stilled, then smirked. "If you want a real marriage, that's negotiable." My throat tightened. "You're delusional. Guest room was your choice," he said blandly. "Master bedroom's unlocked." I nearly bit through my tongue. What does he mean? Does he think I'm making a fuss because I want to sleep with him? I wanted to argue but couldn't find the right words. Feeling completely cornered. I didn't have anyone I liked before. Not in the past. And now. He paused, his gaze settling on me. Does this count? I can't answer that yet. How could he lie so effortlessly? What about Lily? Didn't you ever like her? I confronted him directly. What does she have to do with this? He shot back. Everything. She's my sister. You had a child with her and then married me. What am I to you? Tears welled up as I spoke. He fell silent, visibly tense. Lily is your sister? Yes. The air thickened until he finally said, I'll take you somewhere this weekend, before walking out without explanation. His departure left me restless. Lying in bed, I mentally rehearsed comeback lines. I don't want a man who's been with someone else. Perfect. Why hadn't I thought of that earlier? The frustration gnawed at me through the endless days until the weekend. Was he rehearsing how to end things? The thought of leaving this home made my chest tighten. Next morning, Ethan looked up at me with innocent curiosity. Cathy, did you fight with Dad? Yeah. I sighed. Happy now? Kids could be surprisingly perceptive. Kinda. He grinned. His shameless delight unexpectedly made me chuckle. Glad you're entertained. Will you leave? He pressed. Probably. Will Dad find someone else to make crafts with me? His practical concerns startled me. Sure. What if they're not as good as you? I mock scolded. You can't have both. Kiddo wanting me gone but keeping my crafts. His earnest why not almost made me pinch those chubby cheeks. Strangely, our relationship warmed as my departure loomed. The boy who once ignored me now bombarded me with questions. Cathy, you and Dad still fighting? Cathy, you're pretty enough to find someone better. Cathy, visit me at kindergarten sometimes. Cathy, call me Aunt Catherine. Cathy sounds nicer. The little rascal always had the last word. One evening, he suddenly pushed me toward the hallway. Cathy! Dad's back, quick. Hide! His urgent whisper confused me. Wait, me? Hide? Weren't you in a Cold War with my dad? Ethan asked me seriously. Does being in a Cold War mean I have to hide? But whoever speaks first loses. I almost laughed at his solemn little face. I had no idea where he'd picked up that logic. Still, I didn't want to see Alex. So I headed straight to my room. As soon as I closed the door, I heard voices outside. Dad, going up there won't help. Cathy won't talk to you. Oh, what did she say to you? Dad. I heard her on a voice call with someone else, a guy. Silence followed. I froze. After a moment, I realized it must have been my team lead calling me. And Ethan had overheard. That mischievous kid had twisted it into some dramatic story. I considered clarifying but decided it wasn't worth it. Late that night, half asleep, I felt someone tug my hand. Ethan. What's wrong? I sat up and pulled him into my arms. Cathy, maybe you shouldn't leave? He asked hesitantly. It's the middle of the night, why are you just in pajamas? Get in here. I yanked him under the covers. And he burrowed against me. Cathy. I don't think my mom is coming back. He clung to me, crying again. If you go, no one will help me fight the bullies. My resolve crumbled. I sighed, gently stroking his hair. Okay, okay. I won't leave. Go to sleep. The next morning, I walked to the curb for work. Alex should have already left by then, but a black Bentley idled in front of me. Get in. He rolled down the window. I pretended not to hear. Glancing at his watch, he lowered his voice. You've got 30 minutes. This area's impossible for cabs. Don't want your team lead writing you up for being late. Do you? He won't. I smiled sweetly. The next second, I slid into my team lead's car. Cathy, show up this late again and you're fired. He snapped, glaring. True. I'd cut it close, I'd begged for help in the group chat. And he detoured a mile to grab me. Don't be mad. With you around, I'd never be late. I fawned. His expression softened slightly. At the office, another meeting began. Alex walked in. What's up with Mr. Johnson lately? Why's he obsessing over our team? Planning to promote me? My team lead groaned. Or maybe he's targeting you, a colleague suggested. Shut it. The team lead's temper flared. God. When he sits there, I blank out completely. These meetings feel longer than prison sentences. Thought you all loved eye candy? Can't handle the full dose? Hotness isn't worth cardiac arrest. Someone muttered. I shared their frustration. His gaze kept locking onto me during presentations, this time. I stopped avoiding it. While a colleague rambled through their slides, our silent stare-down turned nuclear. He broke first, looking down with an abrupt chuckle. What's so damn funny? Ding. The notification chimed just as I lost my composure from Alex's mocking grin. Alipay announced a transfer of 5,200 yuan with a message, take taxis yourself. Stop getting into other men's cars. The air froze, my payment notification voice alert had just broadcasted this to the entire conference room. Every head swiveled toward me. Several colleagues shot me sympathetic looks. My team leader, trembling with rage, hissed. Catherine Smith. He barely restrained himself from slamming the table, settling for a muted tap as his eyes flickered toward Alex. How many times must I remind everyone to silence their phones during meetings? My apologies. I blurted, cheeks burning. Our leader forced a smile toward Alex. Mr. Johnson, please excuse this interruption. I'll ensure stricter discipline moving forward. All eyes followed his to where Alex sat scrolling through his phone, utterly unperturbed. My fingers flew across my screen. Think this is funny? How many taxis will 5,200 yuan even cover? My blood boiled at his arrogance. Since when did he get to dictate whose car I rode in? Alex's gaze lifted from his glowing screen to the presentation. His expression unchanged. Typical. I'd be seething while he remained completely unaffected. Ding. The shrill alert pierced the room again. 131,400 yuan received. Sufficient now? The notification voice echoed mercilessly. I froze. In my panic, I'd forgotten to mute it again. Catherine Smith. Our leader erupted, face purpling. Even I wanted to strangle myself. Romantic relationships are fine. He spat through clenched teeth. But must you flirt during critical meetings? Apologizing profusely, I gathered my laptop to leave. Footsteps sounded behind me. Alex stood, his chair scraping against marble as he strode toward the exit without breaking rhythm. Alex. I didn't ask you to leave. My team leader froze in panic. Alex simply stared at me. Continue your meeting. I've got matters to attend. He exited the office without looking back. Returning to my desk, frustration simmered. Why did he insist on toying with me? I needed explanations. Yet he refused to utter a word. Request leave from your supervisor. He materialized before me abruptly. What for? I looked up. We hadn't spoken for days. Was he actively avoiding me? Checking his watch. He grinned. 6-hour drive. Depart now. We'll make dinner. Where? You'll see. My supervisor won't approve. I lied, resentment coloring my tone. Shall I request it myself? No need. I forced a smile. Emerging from the conference room, my fuming supervisor barely started scolding when I presented my leave request. Cathy, has love completely addled your brain? Taking leave for romance? He sputtered. Prioritize work. Noted. May I have the approval? He snatched the form, scribbling violently before hurling it back. Disappear immediately. See you Thursday. I beamed, fleeing before he combusted. The highway stretched endlessly. Ethan and I dozed in the backseat until twilight found us approaching a rustic quadrangle courtyard. Ethan tumbled out shouting, "Grandpa! Grandma!" I froze. Was this Alex's childhood home? The approaching elderly couple his parents? Before I could process the modest surroundings, Alex grasped my hand. His palm engulfed mine, warmth spreading as my pulse quickened. "Old woman. Our boy's here." The silver-haired man paused, eyeing me curiously. "And this is Grandpa. This is Cathy, my new mom," Ethan announced. The man's astonishment melted into delight. "Sir, this is Catherine Smith, my wife." Alex's formal tone surprised me. "Why, sir?" The seated woman rose, hands outstretched. "Married? Bring her closer." Her clouded eyes explained the cautious movements. Inside, the couple served fruits and candies while discussing Alex's career. Their mutual respect was palpable. Eventually, the grandmother approached clutching embroidered fabric. "Dear, accept this humble gift." Her weathered hands pressed antique silk into mine, 2 meters of intricate stitching proclaiming eternal harmony with mandarin ducks. The yellowed edges whispered of decades past. I glanced at Alex, uncertain. The embroidered blessings weighed heavier than their threads. "Keep it." Alexander Johnson lowered his head. When he looked up again, his eyes were slightly red. Later, Alex went to help the man water the flowers while they discussed something outside. The woman tried to pull my hand but withdrew when I didn't respond. "Though I can't see, Cathy, I can sense you're a good girl, Mrs." Joe smiled. "My heart feels at peace knowing Alex has finally opened up and married you." Her words left me confused. After a prolonged silence, I asked, "What emotional burden does he carry?" "He never told you?" She murmured. "Typical of him, buries everything deep. Says nothing, yet feels everything." "What about Sam's story?" "No," I admitted. She sighed and reached for me. "Missing slightly." I quickly grasped her arm, guiding me to the bedroom. She pointed at a framed photo showing Alex standing beside another young man. "This is Alex. And this was my son Samuel Johnson." "Sam?" I repeated thoughtfully. "They grew up as inseparable brothers, same schools. Even studied together in America." If they were so close, why did they drift apart after graduation? I asked, recalling Alex's solitary nature, his only acquaintance being that doctor I'd met. "He died 4 years ago." Her calm tone contradicted the tear trailing down her vacant eyes. Shocked, I stammered apologies. "No need." She patted my hand, smiling through fresh tears. During their American road trip, their car plunged off a cliff. Alex jumped clear. Sam didn't make it. As she choked up, I awkwardly embraced her thin shoulders. "Don't fret, child." She comforted me, regaining composure. Alex blamed himself relentlessly. He abandoned his American career to care for us. Sam's pregnant girlfriend refused the baby. But Alex convinced her to carry to term, vowing to raise the child himself. To spare the boy parental shame, he gave him our surname Johnson, named him Ethan Johnson, using Sam's nickname. Every free moment, he drives Ethan here, treating us as his own parents. Her fingers tightened around mine. He sacrificed everything, 32 years old. Single father scaring off suitors. Always claimed he'd never marry, until you. Her blind eyes seemed to pierce my soul. "Don't let him go. That boy's suffered enough." The revelation stunned me. Ethan wasn't his biological son but Sam's. And Sam's ex-girlfriend was my sister. Suddenly, Alex's recent withdrawal made terrible sense. He wasn't avoiding me but wrestling with resurrected ghosts. Shame flooded me, my petty suspicions versus his quiet nobility. I understand, I told Mrs. Joe solemnly. Next morning, the elderly couple waved goodbye at the crossroads, Ethan enthusiastically mimicking their farewell gestures. Drive safe, they chorused. But as our car turned, the rearview mirror captured them wiping their faces, silhouettes of grief eternally clutching each other against the rising dust. Did Auntie tell you everything? Alex came to my room after we got home that evening. Yeah. He walked over and fiddled with the trinkets on my shelf. Do you know who that embroidery was originally meant for? Huh? Who? She worked on it for 3 years preparing for Sam's wedding. His voice remained steady. Pity her eyesight failed before she could see him married. After Sam died, she cried until she went completely blind. My stomach dropped. Then, words failed me. You actually dared to accept it. He shot me an exasperated look. You told me to take it. Since when do you follow my orders so obediently? His gaze pinned me. I'll return it then. I moved toward the framed embroidery. His hand caught my wrist. There's no protocol for returning accepted gifts. What should we do? Panic crept into my voice. What else? He leaned down until our eyes leveled. Save it for our wedding. Wedding? The word exploded from me. Don't want to? Golden afternoon light caught in his lashes as he studied me. Grandfather already approached me. The arrangements are being made, endure this hassle for me. This isn't about inconvenience. Then what is it about? What indeed? My thoughts whirled too violently to grasp. You've got a month to adjust. His palm briefly warmed my shoulder before he turned to leave. Clarity struck like lightning as the door clicked open. I suddenly understood the real question, the one that mattered more than family obligations or embroidered heirlooms. Alex. He paused mid-step, profile sharp against the hallway light. Yes? The words lodged in my throat. Asking, do you love me? Felt more intimate than any touch we'd shared. When I remained silent, he fully turned, broad shoulders casually propped against the doorframe. Changed your mind about sleeping in the master bedroom tonight? Heat flooded my cheeks, obliterating all courage. I'll take a taxi tomorrow morning. Don't bother driving me. I spun away from his knowing smirk. Suit yourself. The door closed on his amused exhale. After that night, undefined tension threaded through our interactions. Alex began joining me to pick up Ethan from school whenever his schedule permitted. Evenings found him reading in my sitting room while I helped our nephew with art projects. His occasional murmured comments, the Blue Whale project needs stronger adhesive, somehow feeling like shared secrets. His nightly ritual never varied, lingering by my bedroom door with some variation of my phone's on. Doors unlocked. No goodnight kisses. Yet these quiet assurances made my pulse skip more than any overt romance could. The weekend trip to meet my mother arrived too soon. I'd spent days cleaning her cluttered row house and drilling etiquette reminders. To my relief, Mom had transformed her usual mahjong parlor into something resembling a proper living space. Relax. Sweetheart. I'll be on my best behavior. She'd promised. Actually replacing her customary tracksuit with a dress for the occasion. Walking back from her place that evening, lightness replaced the usual weight in my chest. The setting sun painted our neighborhood in warm hues, matching the foreign but not unwelcome warmth spreading through me with each step toward home. That evening when I returned home and opened the door, I noticed an extra pair of high heels in the entryway. My heart sank. An argument erupted from the living room. If you can't bear to part with the child, then marry me. You know I've been waiting for you. The female voice struck me like lightning, freezing me in place. She'd finally come. Impossible. Alex remained composed. Why impossible? You'd rather marry some random woman than me? The woman's voice turned shrill. Do you think I'd ever get involved with my brother's girlfriend? But you knew I've only ever loved you. I only dated Sam to make you jealous. Why won't you look at me? Sobs now choked her words. My chest tightened. I already knew who this was, Lily. Yet I never imagined she harbored feelings for Alex while bearing Sam's child. Now using their son as leverage to force marriage. I knew how deeply Alex cherished Ethan. Would he surrender to this blackmail? My palms grew clammy awaiting his answer. I never loved you before. I never will. His voice dropped gravely low. But you're not taking Ethan. Her tearful laughter rang hollow. You think a child can grow up without his mother? He'll become insecure, resentful, emotionally damaged. Can you shoulder that responsibility? The heavy silence crushed me. I remembered Ethan's wounded eyes when he whispered, Cathy, I don't have a mommy anymore. She's dead. That innocent boy deserved better than being reduced to a bargaining chip. Slipping off my shoes, I entered the living room. Alex's tormented gaze met mine first. That look of helpless anguish twisted my heart. Who's this? Lily demanded, her suspicious glare morphing into venomous recognition as she glanced between us. Sister. My calm address hung in the air. 27 years of imagined reunions, tearful embraces, whispered confessions of longing. None prepared me for this toxic confrontation. Life's cruel irony. I informed her about our mother languishing in the shanty town. How I'd married Alex. She dismissed our mother's existence with a sneer. You think some shantytown beggar deserves to call herself my mother? And you, what gives you the right to steal Alex from me? My voice remained steady. Who said you loved him first? Both Lily and Alex stared. Visit Mom if you care. She misses you. I turned away, unwilling to escalate. Your shantytown hag wants money, not a daughter. Her shrill accusation followed me. I'd rather starve than take a penny from you. The words choked me. I remembered our mother, that foolish, heartbroken woman who wept every May on Lily's birthday, yearning for the daughter who now disowned her. Leave. Alex's thunderous command shook the walls. Alex. You. Now. His finality brooked no argument. The slam of the door echoed her defeated exit. I don't want to repeat myself. Lily stomped her foot angrily and ran out crying. Later that evening, Ethan was still picked up. Even after learning this news, I couldn't process it. My heart ached for Ethan while struggling to comprehend how a mother could treat her own child so coldly. Maybe my worries were unnecessary, but I couldn't sleep at all that night. I went downstairs to the kitchen for water and nearly jumped when I saw someone sitting on the couch in the dark. Alex? Still in his daytime clothes. He sat motionless in the shadows, his silhouette swallowed by the night, radiating profound loneliness. Can't sleep? He spoke first when he noticed me. Insomnia. I answered, settling beside him. You? He remained silent, his mood visibly heavy. Worried about Ethan? I ventured. His gaze dropped uncomfortably. He forgot his bedtime teddy bear. He murmured. I froze. Though I'd always thought Alex too strict with Ethan, rarely smiling. Even making the boy somewhat afraid of him, he'd somehow memorized this intimate detail of his son's nightly routine. Unsure how to comfort this wounded father, I simply kept him company. Should we deliver the bear? I finally asked. He glanced at me before standing. Go rest. I'll handle this. I'll come with you. He paused briefly. All right. Contrary to expectations, Lily's residence was only an hour's drive away. Alex navigated the route with practiced ease. You've come here often? I asked. Yes. He admitted without pretense. After a beat, he added, whenever Ethan fell ill crying for his mother, I'd bring him here in the middle of the night, hoping she'd at least look at him. And? She refused. His tone flattened decades of heartache into 3 words. The confession left me speechless. Memories surfaced of my own mother's tirades. Cathy. I changed your diapers and stayed up with you every night. If you ever abandon me, I'll break your legs. Yet here was Alex, a single father raising a child for 4 years since birth, weathering every midnight plea for a mother who wouldn't come. How crushing that loneliness must have been. Lily's home was a sprawling mansion. As we parked, I hesitated before following Alex inside. The house stood dark at this late hour. After Alex knocked, a housekeeper roused the owner. The middle-aged man who emerged wore silk pajamas, his salt and pepper hair gleaming in the moonlight. Our eyes met, and electric recognition jolted through me. Was this my biological father? Alex! What brings you here? The man greeted warmly until his gaze landed on me, hardening instantly. Here for Ethan's things. Is he asleep? Alex cut straight to the point. He's been fussing for a while and finally fell asleep. He clasped hands behind his back, hesitating before meeting my eyes. You've known how Lily felt about you all these years. I heard you married someone? His contemptuous glance swept over me, truly scraping the bottom of the barrel. My knees nearly buckled. Growing up in the shantytown slums, branded as the violent kid from a broken home, I'd swallowed the scorn for decades. 1,000 cutting remarks couldn't faze me anymore. But when my own father looked at me with that disgust, his disdain became a blade piercing through my ribs, grinding my dignity into concrete dust. Mr. Peter, this is my wife. I believe our business collaboration is no longer necessary. Alex set down the stuffed bear and gripped my hand. My father's face drained of color. I lifted my chin. I'm Catherine Smith. His expression hardened, deliberately indifferent. My mother is Yen Brown. My smile felt like cracked porcelain. Pleasure finally meeting you. Turning to leave, I caught his stunned blink. Let him choke on that revelation. My laughter died as tears spilled over, not for him, but for the final death of childish hope. Mom was right all along. My father died years ago. I never had a dad. Outside, Alex froze at my tear-streaked face. His confusion radiated. Poor man, thought Mr. Peter's insults had broken me. Don't. I turned away, clinging to fractured pride. He's my father. The admission tore raw. First time we've met. Believe it or not. His arms engulfed me before the sob escaped. Hush now, Cathy. Calloused fingers carted through my hair as he murmured it like a prayer, the sacred incantation I'd craved through childhood beatings. Schoolyard taunts. Desperate nights clutching empty medicine bottles. Every version of myself that ever ached for a father's comfort shattered in his embrace. We didn't speak during the drive. Alex granted me this mercy, as he did every morning waiting outside my office. Every evening trailing me to the subway. When I fled to Mom's mildew-scented shack, her cigarette-roughened laugh greeted me. Finally grew a conscience. Good. Fetch me tea, these mahjong tiles won't shuffle themselves. I served chrysanthemum tea to her gambling cronies, the steam blurring my vision. Let her think this was surrender. Some roots grow strongest when burned. A few days later, she noticed something was wrong. Had a fight with your boyfriend? Didn't you say Alex was coming this weekend? Why didn't he show up? We're not getting married. I mumbled, feeling down. Not getting married? What are you up to now? My mother was so angry she almost hit me. One second she was smiling and calling me filial. The next she packed my things and threw them out. Mom. I was locked outside. Get lost. Who wants you cluttering up my place? My mother didn't back down an inch. Where am I supposed to go? I was on the verge of tears. Go to your boyfriend's place. If you fought, solve the problem. Hiding here won't help. I don't take in losers. I told you we're not getting married. I'm not worthy. I don't want his pity. I sat crying on the doorstep. My mother yanked the door open and screamed. Who dares pity you? I raised you right, you've got a decent job and looks. Who's blind enough to look down on you? I'll fight them. I froze for a second. Then go fight my dad. I muttered, sitting slumped. Her expression darkened instantly. After a long time, she finally said with difficulty, "You went to see him?" "Yes." I looked up. "I went. But he thinks I'm trash." My mother stood stunned. "Damn Li Jianguo." She cursed, then stormed out in her slippers. I stumbled back to my room. In the middle of the night, my mother returned. She yanked open my door and kicked the stool in front of me. "Stop crying." I scratched that bastard's face. "If he dares badmouth you again, I'll rip his mouth apart." I stared in horror at her disheveled hair and the bruise at her eye corner. "You went to fight?" "What else?" My mother sat down, still cursing. "Haven't fought in so long." My arms got rusty. "You're insane. How old are you to still be fighting? The doctor said you shouldn't get agitated." My heart clenched. "What's there to fear? Won't die." She comforted carelessly. "If he dares bully you, I'll crawl out of my coffin to beat him half dead." I fell silent, taking a deep breath. I touched her bruised eye. "Does it hurt?" "No." My mother shook off my hand. We sat quietly like that. After a long time, she spoke. "I've never regretted the divorce." She paused. "Though everyone thought I was crazy, advising me not to leave wealth for poverty. But he had severe violent tendencies. He beat me multiple times when I was pregnant with your sister. He'd hit me when unhappy. Hit me when drunk. I couldn't take it anymore. I thought having children would change him. But people never change. Endured 2 years until you were born. Then filed for divorce. Fighting? I've never feared anyone. I'd fight to the death. Never yielding. But I had children. Your sister cried hysterically. I had to consider them. During the divorce, I wanted to take you both. But your father had money and power. I had no income. The court only gave me you since you were newborn. I'd never heard why they divorced. I always thought it was her temper. Never imagined it was his abuse." I stared blankly, wanting to hug her past self. "What about sister?" I asked. "Aren't you worried?" "How couldn't I be?" She sighed. "I heard she's done well, top high school, university, studied in America. Your father's no good. But the stepmother he found her is decent. Didn't abuse her." I saw them laughing arm in arm on the street like real mother and daughter. She paused. "What could I do? She left me at 2. Of course she sees her stepmother as mother. What memories does a 2-year-old have? Better she doesn't remember." My mother stood up. "Cathy, are you still my daughter?" she asked. "If you like someone, go after them." "Is that Alex, the one from your diary?" "Mom, you read my diary?" I shot up, shocked. "Who'd read your diary?" "I found his school ID when cleaning and put it back." "What kind of person you are?" "How could I, as your mother, not know? While all the kids in the projects were playing, you were studying there. Don't think I don't understand why. Having my years-long crush on Alex exposed by my own mother was utterly mortifying. I've heard about you and Yen. About that child. Both my daughters are my flesh and blood. What's meant to be yours can't be taken away. Think carefully." She closed the door, leaving me standing frozen in contemplation. I'd wanted to marry Alex for years. But he'd only been with me because of the child. Now that the child had returned to their biological mother, what reason did I have to stay? My confusion weighed heavily. At the department gathering, my mood kept slipping. "You look heartbroken," our team leader observed. "Got dumped?" "Well, sort of. What fool would dare dump my subordinate?" He sprang up indignantly. I thought you said I'm useless? Even my most useless subordinate is 100 times better than any outside woman. Me, thanks. I guess. Cheer up. Let's go drinking tonight. Point out whoever you like, I'll get him drunk for you. He dragged me along despite my protests. Isn't this inappropriate? If the man's not drunk, you won't get your chance. His absurd logic knew no bounds. As colleagues reminded him, shouldn't you invite Mr. Johnson? The team leader waved them off. You go ahead. I'll extend the courtesy. We all knew Alex never attended these gatherings, the invitation was mere formality. The atmosphere froze when Mr. Johnson unexpectedly appeared at the Korean barbecue spot. Colleagues nearly choked on their pork belly. I kept my head down as polished black Oxford stopped beside me. May I? His velvet baritone warmed unexpectedly. Moving my bag. I muttered consent. His masculine scent made me fidget. Colleagues kept toasting him, which he accepted without hesitation. Worried but unable to intervene, I focused on grilling meat. Every stolen glance found his gaze lingering on me, making me retreat. When someone offered cigarettes, he declined smoothly. The ventilation here isn't ideal. The table immediately stubbed out their smokes. He barely ate, just kept drinking, clearly disliking barbecue. Distracted while handling steaming sweet potato casserole, I reached for the foil. Careful. It's hot. His hand closed over mine mid-conversation with others. Our eyes locked openly as he took over, methodically scooping golden orange mash into my bowl. Enough? The tenderness in his whisper made me stammer. Colleagues gaped at the intimate scene. Yet he resumed drinking unperturbed, the awkward tension thickening around us like molten cheese. After drinking for a while, he looked down at me and quietly asked when others weren't paying attention, "Did it burn you?" Not really. I daren't speak to him. Terrified colleagues might notice. The alcohol seemed to embolden him. He actually grabbed my hand under the table without saying a word. Just holding on. My heart raced as I tried pulling away. But he wouldn't release. Alex. I pinched his hand during a lull when everyone started joking around. He turned fully towards me, head drooping close enough that I could smell the liquor. His intoxicated gaze locking onto mine. Let go. I whispered urgently. Someone might see. He squeezed back. Won't. This man. How could a CEO act so shamelessly? I felt dizzy, trapped between maintaining appearances. I stayed glued to his side while he smirked at my discomfort. A group of girls arrived at the neighboring table, their eyes repeatedly darting our way. The reason was obvious. Alex looked devastating with his jacket off, shirt unbuttoned to reveal a sliver of chest. That restrained elegance making anyone's imagination run wild. He caught me glancing between him and the giggling girls. Jealous? They can look all they want. None of my business. I muttered, staring at the tablecloth. If you get this possessive over office drinks, what'll happen when I attend real business banquets? Amusement colored his voice. Stop talking to me. I hissed, nerves fraying from the risk of exposure. To my surprise, he silently fastened his top button. Though I kept silent, my treacherous heart fluttered. The boldest girl eventually approached. Handsome. Can I get your number? Miss. Our team leader interjected angrily. Do you even know who this is? The poor man never expected his CEO invitation to backfire like this. First the photos. Now this scene. Of course. He's my soulmate. She reached for Alex's arm. Chuckles erupted around us at her audacity. Alex coldly evaded her touch. I'm married. Silence fell. Colleagues? Me? Girl? Married people can't make friends? She pouted. No. His tone brooked no argument. My wife wouldn't approve. Under the table, his grip on my hand tightened. Heat flooded my face. In that moment, I surrendered completely to this heartbeat-stealing madness. How could I resist? The boy from countless dreams now held my hand, wordlessly claiming devotion by rejecting every admirer. When the dinner ended, he finally released me. My palm felt damp with nervous sweat. "Mr. Johnson, shall I arrange a ride?" The leader held open a taxi door. "You go ahead." Alex lit a cigarette by the curb. Then Cathy. The leader turned to me. "I'll drop you home." "Team leader, you're being biased," a colleague protested. "What bias?" "Cathy just went through a breakup. As team leader, I can't let her go home alone." Alex snapped. "Wait. Cathy, you got dumped?" Someone asked me. I thought. How should I respond? I glanced at Alex watching me through cigarette smoke. His expression unreadable. "It's nothing," I said, moving toward the car. "I'll take you." Alex's gaze locked onto mine. After a beat, he added, "It's on my way." "But Alex, you live near Cathy? In that area?" Alex remained silent. Our team leader awkwardly dropped the subject. As others departed in arranged cars, we stood alone in the parking lot. My heart raced with conflicting dread and anticipation. Only I knew the truth: his West Hill villas lay diametrically opposed to my shanty town. "I'll just grab a taxi. It's late." His cigarette tip glowed brighter. "Exactly why I'm driving you." The ride filled me with quiet terror. I feared his pity if he saw my neighborhood, dreaded that knowing my past might extinguish his faint affection. Yet paradoxically, I clung tighter to my pride than my unrequited love deserved. He drove in silence, alcohol faint on his breath. "Just drop me at the intersection?" "Let me see," he insisted, fingers brushing mine. "Please?" We stood at the alley mouth, his designer shoes crunching gravel. "Grew up here?" His brow furrowed. "Yeah. Walking home from night classes? I've trodden this path 10,000 times. Could navigate it blindfolded." His hand unexpectedly brushed my hair. As we walked, he froze mid-step. "Have we met before?" "What?" He surveyed the crumbling walls. "I've been here." My pulse thundered as he continued. "Senior year. Sam and I passed through. A terrified girl crashed into me, muggers chasing her." He chuckled darkly. "Sam still teases me about disappearing that night." "Where'd you go?" I feigned ignorance. "Stood guard outside her window till dawn. Her mother worked night shifts." "You stayed all night?" I blurted. "How could I leave?" His smile softened. "Every time she woke, she'd check I hadn't abandoned her." "Not your responsibility." "True," he mused. "But she kept calling me big brother so sweetly." Suddenly, his eyes sharpened. "Jealous of a childhood memory?" I was stunned by his train of thought. "Who's jealous?" I glared at him. How could I be jealous of myself? "Don't say that." He lowered his head to look at me seriously. "You look quite similar to her." I froze. "Is it possible we're sisters?" I teased him with a smile. He didn't speak, seemingly contemplating this seriously. The next moment, "I'm here. You can go back." I pointed at the house. When his gaze fell on the locust tree, his pupils constricted sharply, not giving him time to react. I entered the house, leaving him alone outside. I returned to the windowsill, leaning out to watch him. He stood frozen for several seconds outside, then lit a cigarette and slowly approached the locust tree. He reached out to touch the bark, smoking with his head bowed. After finishing the cigarette, he looked up at me. Then he started smiling. He remained standing under the tree, not leaving or checking his phone, just staring at me. How could I possibly sleep now? When I finally crawled back to the windowsill after tossing and turning, he walked over slowly. "Can't sleep?" His eyes were full of tenderness. How could I sleep with you here? He chuckled. Then keep me company. Fine. Suddenly he bent down, bringing his face close to mine. His tall frame made the low windowsill seem awkward. When did you get the locust flower tattoo? He asked softly, feeling his breath so near. My face must have turned crimson. Freshman year. Oh. His lips curved. You liked me since freshman year? Caught off guard, I stayed silent. Why didn't you ever approach me? I tried. His eyebrows rose in surprise. When? I majored in finance at Hainan University. His eyelid twitched. Did my graduate studies at Beijing Institute of Technology. You went to Harvard. I couldn't get in. His playful expression vanished instantly. He stared at me intensely. I'm sorry. I never knew any of this. His voice cracked as his hand hovered near my cheek. Don't apologize. My feelings were my own responsibility. Remembering those years of secret longing, tears welled up. He gazed at me quietly before murmuring, I've been such a fool. Then he tucked my hair behind my ear, cradled my face, and kissed me. The world spun as I forgot to breathe. When he finally released me, my face burned beyond recognition. Stop liking me from now on, he whispered against my lips, eyes overflowing with emotion. Let me be the one who adores you. Okay? Okay. I nodded obediently. You don't have to be so well behaved. He traced my jawline. Be difficult if you want. Just don't hide from me anymore. Okay. He looked at me again, his eyes filled with starlight before lowering his head to kiss me once more. The moonlight outside stretched a shadow so long. So long. Finally, my Alex had returned. He didn't leave that night. He stood beneath the maple tree guarding me until dawn. When my mother woke the next morning, she nearly jumped out of her skin. Has that guy outside lost his mind? Standing there all night? That's Alex. I smiled. Alex? She practically levitated off the floor. Here to reconcile? Well, you could say that. Such a handsome man and you left him outside? Have you no manners? She immediately bustled out to invite him in. He followed her inside with natural ease, though I noticed his fingers tightening slightly around his coffee cup when facing my mother's interrogation. The confident CEO had vanished, replaced by a man sitting ramrod straight on our floral sofa, answering each question with yes, ma'am and no, ma'am. My mother's grin stretched ear to ear. She approved. Since it was weekend, I helped at Mom's mahjong parlor. Alex joined us. I worried what he could possibly contribute. I could handle serving tea. But him? Mom had solutions. Alex, do you play mahjong? A little. We need a fourth player. Of course. I nearly choked. My mother was making her future son-in-law gamble with relatives on his first visit. Nervously sitting beside him, I watched his first few rounds, only to see three elderly uncles growing increasingly pale as tiles clacked. How? I stared at his growing pile of chips. Cathy's boyfriend. Eh? Third uncle squinted through cigarette smoke. Sharp mind and good looks. Why you flatter me? I stammered. Alex leaned close, breath tickling my ear. Third uncle? The grumpy one taught me to ride bikes. The bald one bought me ice cream every summer. I whispered. His expression softened. Suddenly, his winning streak reversed. Miscalculated discards. Ill-timed passes. The uncle's scowls melted into chuckles as their chip stacks grew. Cathy dear, your businessman boyfriend needs practice. Second grandpa laughed, pocketing another 100. We'll expect wedding invitations. Such a promising young man. I pinched Alex's sleeve. Let me take over? Rest first. He murmured, sliding another chip across the table. I'll handle this. By noon, He'd lost thousands with perfect composure. My apologies. Elders. Business calls. He rose smoothly. Come practice more. They chorused, counting their winnings. Your skills need work. Third uncle clapped his shoulder. Indeed. Alex smiled. I'll learn from the masters next time. Okay. Okay. This young man is really impressive. He stood up and pulled me outside. Did you lose to them on purpose? I asked. Alex looked down at me. They're happy. That's all that matters. He checked his watch. It's still early. Come with me somewhere? Okay. You didn't sleep last night. Aren't you tired? I asked. Not tired. He squeezed my hand. Eventually he took me to a custom jewelry store. The saleswoman greeted him enthusiastically. Mr. Johnson. Here to pick up the ring? This must be Mrs. Johnson? Me? The entire process felt surreal. The staff led us to the VIP room and retrieved a velvet box from the safe. See if you like it? He nodded toward the box. My hands trembled as I opened it to reveal a pink diamond ring, not oversized, but perfectly girly. He took it out and slipped it onto my finger. Perfect fit. When did you? Ordered it long ago. Just never collected it. He smiled. How come I didn't know? You were too busy giving me the cold shoulder. He studied my ring-adorned hand, turning it in his palm. No taking it off. You ungrateful little thing. But not that you'd dare anyway. He clasped my hand contentedly. After retrieving the ring, his driver brought the car around. We ended up at his family estate. His grandfather beamed at me, especially noticing the ring. Finally did something proper. His parents in America simply said they respected their son's choices during the video call. Everything happened so fast. The whole day felt like a dream. That night, we returned to his villa in the Western Hills. Emerging from the shower, I found him asleep on the couch, exhausted from the day's events. I knelt beside him, studying his face unabashedly. His eyes closed, features sculpted like classical art, faint stubble shadowing his jaw. The boy I'd yearned for had grown into this composed man. My fingers brushed the student ID badge he still clutched in sleep. Did I finally appear in his dreams too? My heart swelled with unprecedented happiness. Summoning courage, I leaned to kiss his forehead. But as I bent down, his eyes snapped open. Twin galaxies swirled in those irises, pulling me into their gravity. My pulse thundered. What were you trying to do? His murmur sent panic through me. I scrambled back, but his arm banded around my waist. Just looking. My voice shook. His gaze traveled from my eyes downward. Adam's apple bobbing. Midnight staring at a healthy man counts as just looking? Then I'll stop. I pushed against his chest. He hauled me closer instead. Letting you look your fill is basic courtesy. His voice dropped to gravel. Wouldn't be much of a man otherwise. He turned over and kissed me. Later, he whispered hoarsely. Cathy, don't be afraid. What else could I do? I dug this hole myself. So I'll lie in it. Our wedding's next week. He treats me well, yet maintains restraint, clearly separating work and romance. At home, he embodies masculine passion, but remains that ice-cold CEO at the office. I'm starting to suspect multiple personality disorder. How else could someone compartmentalize so perfectly? Maintain such constant composure? At work, my team leader remains emotionally volatile, daily berating me over proposals. Cathy, no offense, but since love's gone, focus on career advancement through results. Right. Revise this again. Fine. I spent the entire morning revising the proposal. Skipping lunch. Alex was away on business again. Pathetic as ever. By afternoon, my team leader reviewed it, face gradually brightening. Not bad instincts. Take this to Mr. Johnson. Approval at last. But he's out of town? Returned early. Saw him in the elevator. Oh. No refusing. Carrying the proposal to his office. I realized I'd missed him too this week. But workplace professionalism prevailed. Remembering his frosty demeanor made my chest tighten. Knocking. I entered to find him buried in documents. Typical Arctic attitude. The revised proposal. My team leader wants your review. I extended the folder. Leave it. He didn't even glance up. Infuriating. As I turned to leave, his voice halted me. Close the door. Me? Lock it too. Me? Still. I obeyed. Turning, I found his towering frame behind me. He raised my hand to twist the deadbolt, sealing us in. You, missed you. His lips captured mine. Why this unbearable longing? Hot whispers at my ear made me tremble. When he finally released me, smug satisfaction colored his return to paperwork. You've become, completely, shameless. I flushed crimson, scolding him. He continued annotating documents impassively. Why else would I cut the trip short? Mental note, total jerk. Wait for me after work. Honey. It took me a long time to calm down, but my hands still trembled as I clutched the documents. Just as I settled back at my desk, my team leader swooped in. Cathy! His bark made me jump. Why yes. I stammered, heart pounding. He glared at my face, nostrils flaring. I sent you to present the proposal to Mr. Alex. Why's your lipstick smudged? My mind went blank. Panic rising like floodwater. Were you sneaking snacks in the break room again? No wonder it took half an hour. His face turned crimson. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Maybe you should quit. Coworkers began gathering as he shouted. I wanted to disappear. Then a lazy drawl cut through the tension. I smudged it. Got a problem with that? Every head snapped toward the doorway where Alex leaned against the frame. Tie slightly askew. The office collectively gasped. Mr. Alex. My team leader turned chalk white. Alex tossed a stack of ivory invitations onto my desk. Wedding next week. No gifts. He took my shaking hand, addressing my petrified boss. Borrowing your employee for afternoon tea. Objections? None. Sir. The man practically bowed. Our fingers intertwined. Alex led me past gawking colleagues. The ceremony happened in a rose-scented blur. My happiest surprise came when Ethan appeared as ring bearer. Aunt Cathy. He whispered, offering my bouquet. I shared Daddy. Will you visit my preschool now? Every day. I promised. Hugging his small frame. He pressed a sticky candy into my palm before wiping tears with dimpled fists. During the bouquet toss, Alex nudged me toward Lily. For your sister. Lily stood stiffly in champagne satin. You win, she said through clenched teeth. I'm leaving tomorrow. New boyfriend. Be happy. Her hug felt like surrender. She snapped a selfie with me before walking away. My mother wept silently behind us. At the exit, Lily paused. She returned to briefly embrace Mom, patting her back twice before disappearing. The reception lasted hours. I watched Alex tirelessly accept toasts, his hand never leaving my waist. Slow down. I murmured, tugging his tuxedo sleeve. He kissed my forehead, whiskey warmth mingling with his cologne. Can't get drunk on my wedding night. Mrs. Johnson. The band played our song as his arms tightened around me. Outside, city lights blurred like champagne bubbles, effervescent. Fleeting. Impossibly bright. It's okay. He reached out to pat my head. I'm happy. That evening, Ethan followed us home. I was even more astonished. Yet he wrapped his arm around me and chuckled. I gave her 10 million to pursue her own happiness. Worth every penny. What? That much? Because she's your sister and Ethan's mother. Compared to your and our child's happiness, this is nothing. Oh. I'd never seen that much money before, it startled me. Think it's a lot? MHM. Then why'd you still choose me? He grinned. How else? What do you think? Before I could react, he swept me into his arms. Under the moonlight, he held me close. Good night, wife. I watched him drift into deep sleep, sweetly content. The secret crash tumbled into my dreams, then into his, until finally that night, it blossomed. That flower was called the Johnson family's magnolia. Thank you all for the company. Your support fuels my passion for sharing these sweet romance stories. See you next time.